So, Merry Christmas. Is it too early to say Merry Christmas, Happy
No.
Holidays, and all the things? I love Christmas.
Yeah, I do too.
It's like the most wonderful time of the year, you know? I mean, there's so much hope. There's so much and I don't know about you, but I can see, Christ in every Christmas movie. I mean, because 'cause isn't
Yeah.
every Christmas movie like somebody's downtrodden, the girl from the city goes back home to the country and, there's always a man that saves the day, and I'm always like, yeah, Jesus always saves the day. So
Saves it.
there's just like this perpetual hope and, it's like, I don't know, I think after a long year of struggling, we get to this season like we made it and we're gonna make it, and you are listening to the Recovering Preacher's Kids podcast with Lisa and Lori. It got me thinking about Christmas gifts. So, do you remember? I don't know if your kids back in the day ever did at their school. Did they have like a secret Santa, a Santa shop or whatever where they could buy
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
okay.
Really.
I, I so can remember giving my kids the money and they would go buy like silly little pencil pouches or whatever, and you open it on Christmas morning and they're so proud of themselves,
It's
because
like
they bought you like
pencil.
a rubber duck or whatever.
Yeah.
My grandkids just recently went to Santa's shop and hearing their mom talk about how excited they were shopping for the things. And Dominic had $7 left over. And Christina said, all right, you have $7. Do you want to get something for Gigi and Papa? He goes, no, I've bought everybody but me. I need to buy me something, to the point they even went to the table and wrapped it. And Christina was like, okay, Dominic, so are you going to wrap a gift to you from you? He goes, nah, just lay it on my bed. But it got me thinking about Christmas gifts, and I'm a terrible gift giver. I mean, a terrible gift giver. I do not have the art of giving the right gift that is a given. I would rather just give you money because
Yeah.
I
Gift
couldn't even
card.
buy a gift card from the right place. I mean, I overthink the thing. But growing up, our grandmother, our dad's mom, we called her grandma. She's the one who gave me the love for trash TV. Was she Scandinavian or Swedish, or where was she
She
from?
was Swedish, but I
She
could
was
be wrong. I
stern.
thought.
She
Yeah.
she was a stoic woman. She wasn't mean by any stretch of the means. I mean, my heavens, we watched Dallas and Dynasty together,
Well,
she
raising
wasn't mean,
5 boys, yeah, I guess you have to be.
right?
Right?
But she wasn't the kind of grandmother that just like ran out of the house with her arms open wide to give you hugs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she gave us hugs. I mean, she was very loving, but she was very to the point. I think very like me. She was very blunt, to the point. She didn't sugarcoat. She didn't like something. She went, I don't like that. Just kind of very like it was. And so she had a slew of grandkids. And, not just her own grandkids, just other kids that she looked at like grandkids. And so she gave everyone every year for Christmas a plate of cookies. That was your Christmas gift. You got this woman made sugar cookies, gingerbread
Gingerbread.
cookies,
Peppermints.
peppermints. She made, I mean, they weren't just like Nestle Toll House cookies. Okay. These were like legit from a store cookie. Like she could have owned her own bakery. I
Right now,
mean,
yeah.
fair to say. And I
But let's
hated
fill
it.
in let's just fill in, though, when we say a plate of cookies. It wasn't on a plate. So to make the story in everybody's head, she would save the styrofoam things
Take
that
out
meat
containers.
well, the meat that comes up from the grocery
Yes.
store, and she would
Yes.
wash them. I mean, now and she would wash them and dry them and stack them up, and she would save them, and then she would wrap them in aluminum foil before she put the cookies. So when we say a plate of cookies, it's actually a styrofoam
Meat tray
container
of cookies.
tray. Yes. Okay.
So as a child, I thought this was the dumbest gift I
Yeah.
could ever be given in my entire life. And because I am me, if y'all have learned anything by now. I told her one year that I thought that was stupid and I didn't want cookies. And so the next year she got me a purse and I didn't like that either. And so I was like, I don't like that either. And so the next year she went back to giving me cookies. And so I can't wait to get to heaven to talk to her because we learned later in life when she was in a nursing home, no longer able to care for herself, that she didn't even have cookie cutters. Like she had taken and made her templates out of the cardboard from cereal boxes and would cut them by hand. And so the time and the effort that she put into these cookies was so much more than just your
Rolling
typical
it out and
rolling it
yeah.
out, you know? And so, as all of y'all judge me now for being world's worst granddaughter, I accept that award. But what I want her to know is what I learned from her through that and through my whatever you would call that mean little girl I was, that joy comes in the oddest blessings. Because as an adult, I think it's fair to say that the memory of her cookies lives in me in a way that that mean little child did not understand. And when I think back over the years of all the gifts that we give people, both material and I think the gift that grandma gave me was more than a meat tray full of cookies. You know, she gave me this gift that I really don't even know how to explain it today. I don't even know how to put it into words. And so I kind of want to break down finding joy in unusual blessings today. And why is it so hard to do that in the moment? Why does it take years before we actually see it?
I think for me, a lot of that has to do with our perception or how, for me, how I think things should play out. You know, I'm one of these who plays out every scenario in their head and plans out every conversation, and I can have your side of the story. So when you do not respond in words like what played out in my head, I'm thrown for a loop
Mm,
because that's not how we rehearsed it, you know? So sometimes that throws me and I have to rethink the conversation a little bit. So all that to say, I think sometimes for me, it is I've already decided how something's supposed to be.
mm,
And then when it doesn't come that way, I don't know how to react or respond, if that makes sense. And it's
perfect.
not, and sometimes it takes me years, just like the cookies, it's taken me years to really appreciate it because even though we have found her recipes and have tried to do her cookies, she must have left out an ingredient out of her
It's love.
recipes.
Love.
There's
We don't
something.
have the love she had.
Because they just do not come out the same. So I forgot. My mind just went, I don't know where I was going with this. But I think that's for me. And it just takes me a long time to come back and realize, wait a minute, you know, even though that didn't come out the way I thought, it really did come out good. Does that make sense? I mean, I've
Yes.
I've done that my whole entire life, not just with grandma's cookies.
Well, see, and then I go back to the scripture about God, I'm butchering it, where, you know, God uses everything for your good and his glory. Do
Mhm,
you know what I'm talking about?
In
And I
Romans.
go, huh?
It's in Romans, isn't it?
Sure.
So
Yeah,
sure.
sure. Because
God
I'm the
works all
person that
things
quotes
out
scripture.
for the
Yes.
glory
Yeah.
for
For
those
those
that
that
love
love
him. Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Y'all get
Gumbo.
the point
Yeah.
I'm making. And so I go back to how I even miss things like that God gives me, the little gifts that God gives me, and I miss out the odd little blessing of it because things don't come in the package that I want. Just like you were talking about the conversation doesn't go the way we rehearsed in my mind. It's like, "Excuse me, can we do take 2? This
Right?
is not what we talked about." I wonder why, like, well, I would like to ask God, like, why is that in my brain that way? And then as soon as I went to say that, I saw him go shaking his head, being like, I didn't make you that way. You made yourself that way. But like, I wonder what in my mind, what do I hold on to? What is the expectation? because then it makes me often wonder, well, does anything live up to my expectation? Which makes me be like, oh, are you ungrateful? Not having a Bash and Lori moment. That's not what I mean. But I have to laugh at myself because then I'm like, wow, so you get so personal, like so down to the T. It really does need to look like this. But then I still often miss it. What if it did come to me like that? Then I would be like, "But it's not red, and I had in my mind green." Please tell me somebody else thinks this way, because when
Yeah.
grandma gave me the purse that year, that wasn't what I wanted either. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm beginning to realize I still don't know what I want because I'm still often living in a place of what do I want, not what does God have for me.
Ooh, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So I'm crafting what I think I want or need.
Which is developed in me because I won't, I guess, growing up or whatever, getting the gifts that we didn't think or we didn't, I don't want to say won't because that's the wrong word, but because when you're a kid, that now I make my kids send me links. They have to send
Mhm.
me links. They have to send me pictures. They have to, because I am so worried. I want to be sure that when they open it up on Christmas or whenever they get it, they're happy. And there's this whole, I have this whole thing that Christmas, then they all have to be, oh, and it has to be a Hallmark movie moment.
You are the Christmas magic.
That's a lot of pressure now because now I'm learning I can't be the Christmas magic for them all the time.
Mhm.
But, I don't know. But I guess boiling down to close to, we try to, or I do, I try to be sure I give people their joy. Does that make sense? Since we're on
Ooh,
this topic, to make sure they receive the joy they're looking for.
what
So it
about
comes
your
back to,
joy? Where do you look to get your joy filled?
okay, the Sunday school answer is there, Jesus.
I don't know if you have listened to any of our podcasts, Lisa, but that is not this podcast is not that kind.
It's
This
not
is
the Sunday
not a
school answer.
devotional podcast. This is we are a hot mess, trauma filled, trying to learn to follow Jesus with all of our baggage.
Well, that was the Sunday school answer. Technically, the right answer is I'm supposed to get my joy from God, but I don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I
don't
mean, I find
either.
it because it's easy. I only focus on what I can see, and I mean, quite honestly,
I do
I'm one of
too.
these that, what I can see, what I can touch, what I can feel is usually what I guess I equate what my joy is, what makes me happy. And I know joy and happiness are different things, so I don't know. I don't have an answer for you.
That I often, because like you, I try to be the joy or give the joy to other people. So therefore, I'm always looking to get joy from people.
People,
And then when I don't get the joy from other people, then I talk about how my cup is empty. And then I get mad at people because they're not giving me the joy that I demand, but yet they don't know I'm demanding it from them. Now, if that is not a therapy session that needs to be had, I don't know what is.
okay, so
Because
we're
I get angry at people for not being the things that I desire them to be, but I never communicate, nor is it fair. I mean, it's not fair to expect someone to do that, but I don't
yeah,
even tell them. I mean, if I told my
yeah.
husband I expect to get joy from you, that joker would look at me like I had 40 heads. He'd be like, "You looking at the wrong one." So, but isn't it funny? I do. I often want to get that from other people.
Yeah, and I think that's just a human nature, and I think that's probably a lot of just, like, our society, to be quite
Mm,
honest with us, because, I mean, quite honestly, we are a self-centered people,
mhm.
and we let the busy life get in the way that we kind of forget the basics. Maybe that's what the whole from grandma, the cookies was just the base getting back to the basics, which some of hers, I think she was a widow, fixed income. She couldn't buy us gifts for all the grandchildren. I would love to have known how this started. I mean, because I can't remember Christmas without the cookies. You know, I
Yeah, I don't
you know,
either.
as far as I can remember from an early age, we got them. So to know, was this a tradition? And I guess now that I'm on this side, in some ways I beat myself up because I didn't take the time
Mhm.
to get the backstory. And I see that now, and maybe I find myself trying to give backstories to my kids so they know, you know, because I think that's important. And then maybe we need to take some time to give the backstory. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to bring about what I'm thinking, but I just, I don't know. I think our society is more focused on expecting other people to do for us. And I'm just as guilty. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm just as guilty to expect somebody to be sure that my happiness, of my happiness. And that's not the right answer. Yet again, the Sunday school answer is where is our joy found? You know, in our source. But
Think it's fair to say, though, I think I would speak for all of, because I think a lot of times I say things that people think, but just don't say, which because you just don't always say all the things that come into your brain, but I do. And I think that if I speak for everybody that holds back the thought, is it because at the end of the day, maybe we don't even know what we want? So we're
mhm.
thinking well, if you fulfill this need in me, you fulfill this thing in me, well, then you know what I need better than I know what I need because I don't even know what I need. And deep down, it makes us mad that we don't even know what we need, or
Mm,
deep down, we know that what we need is more Jesus in our life, but that's really not what we want because if we have more Jesus in our life, then that means we're going to be transformed. And we really don't want to be transformed because maybe we like the sin that's in our life. And the more we have Jesus in our life, the less we know that thing that we like is going to have to go. And so we look elsewhere to get that feeling because then the world is gonna tell us we can keep watching Dallas and Dynasty. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I know
yeah.
that's an analogy, but do you know where I'm going with it?
Yeah, I do.
And, maybe that's part of it too is I don't wanna admit I need more Jesus in my life because I like the worldly sinful things that I have going on in my life. And I mean, I'm not selling drugs under a bridge. So then I can validate that my sin's not that bad. Okay? Well, I'm not doing that and I'm not being like her.
You just took this whole podcast in a totally different direction than what I was expecting and stepping on some toes that probably didn't need to be stepped on this morning. So I'm
Well,
just
I'm
kidding. I'm
stepping
just
on
kidding.
my own though. I'm stepping on my own because I'm beginning to realize that more and more that I am so far from where I need to be.
You're
You
not
see, I
alone.
I don't say these things in a way of like I have arrived and I have it all together and in a preachy way. I say it in a like, "Hey y'all, I'm in the bottom of this well that I put myself. My brothers did not put me here. I put myself in the bottom of this well." And I don't understand why I stay there. That's the thing that gets me. I think Beth Moore talked about in her book, Get Out of This Pit. Y'all remember that book 1,000 years ago? She talked about, we get in the pit and we hang curtains and we make it look real pretty. And I think that's what I do. I just stay there
It's
and
the
then
comfortable.
justify it. Yeah.
I don't know. Some of it too might be just the fact that we're like, okay, well, this is just the way it's going to be. There's no out. So let me just make
Ooh.
lemonade out of these lemons and I'll just make the decor pretty.
Ooh.
Ooh, or it's almost like me, I'll just change the appearance of it, and as long as I don't have to look at the real truth, then it doesn't exist. Because that's
Don't go
another thing I
there.
do. That's another thing I do. I just if I don't look at it, I can cover it up, then it doesn't exist, and then I don't have to deal with it.
Denial, denial,
Denial,
denial.
denial. Yeah.
I do that. I really do that. I can lie to myself. I can lie to you and I can lie to myself with the quickness. With the
I'm just sitting here
quickness.
laughing. We've gone from getting Christmas cookies for Christmas gift to now we're
Welcome to
living
the
in the pit,
welcome to the recovering preacher's kid where the trauma runs deep and fast.
to get from point A to point B, but
Because I can tell you exactly how we get there because I think you and I are both on a journey of joy,
mm,
living in freedom and realizing that our blessings all our life have been in some of the most unusual ways, but we're not seeing it until now. Just like grandma's cookies, we didn't see it until now, but
Yeah,
we're seeing, I mean, even though we're in the pit, we still have blessings. I mean,
blessings,
the
yeah.
curtains are cute for goodness sake.
Right? We got a comfortable couch to sit on.
And if you don't like it, honey, we'll just move it and get another one. I think that especially this time of year, I'm real good about reflecting on the past year and looking ahead. I love the new year. I'm a new year girl. Get me a new planner that I'm going to use for about 15 days. I'm going to get me a walking plan that I'm going to do about 3 days in a row until it starts making my belly hurt. And then I'm going to go to work with a good attitude at least for a week. At least for a week. And I love the new year because it's like a new beginning, and I can't help but reflect on it all.
So are you saying, because of where we're here now, we're at the end of 2025. So is it what you're saying is now you're realizing you have an idea of how 2026 you're going to go. So you're already expecting blessings a certain way, enjoy a certain way. So when we get to the end of 2026, let's have this conversation again. And did your blessings come in the way that you thought? Or do you have the conversation for 2026 already figured out? Then is what you're
No,
saying.
no. I will tell you, this is the first year that I am going into 2026 expectationless.
I'm a little
Yes.
shocked.
Can you believe it? I was thinking the other day about what am I looking for in 2026, and I just sat there and I was like, "No clue. No idea what I'm looking for in 26." And I think that's why I'm so excited about it,
This might be an interesting year on the podcast then to see how things go for you.
because I have no expectations. I I mean, I hope someone gives me cookies, but that's just a side note. But I don't, and maybe that's where the excitement of the
Excitement.
anticipation for me is I've always lived with expectation,
Hmm.
and this year I've worked really hard on stopping to do that.
That's really interesting. And I guess maybe for me in a way, I mean, my husband the other day was asking me what I wanted for Christmas. Of course, he asked me that for my birthday too, but I don't know. Here lately, it's just been like, I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue what I want.
Okay.
Going along with what we're talking about, getting gifts and, that we didn't even know we wanted and finding the joy there that, I mean, I don't know. I'm at a place of like not having a clue what I want because right now to me, I have plenty. And I'm not trying to say that being like all high and mighty. I'm not because I do look around and I see I have plenty. I have good health. My children have good health, like what we were talking earlier, our kids have a roof over their heads. And even though there's some little struggles going on, I just don't know. I have no clue. And if people that know me know I'm a planner and things have to be like, well, I just admitted I had to have a conversation planned out before we even had the conversation. So we had to know how the conversation was going to go. So I don't know. This is something new for me because I just don't have a clue, you know? But how do you go? And maybe that's something different for somebody. They just don't know at this time of the year they want to give you something that makes you happy. There's nothing that make I don't know how to explain it. I don't have anything specific that will make me happy. That I
Well,
could
and
say, because right now I'm happy, or I think I'm happy.
but I think isn't that what we're all striving to be, is content with what we have and then blessed with the extra.
So maybe that's where we need to be, where we're what you're saying, contentment. Maybe that's the whole problem with our gifts that you're talking about is we're not content at the time until way later when we go back and
Well,
look at it.
the Lord can talk to me in all kinds of ways. He shows me things in some of the most interesting ways. And I have realized this year one of the things is I stink at fashion too. I don't really know what goes together, what have you. So I signed up for Stitch Fix. I don't know if you've ever done that.
Mhm.
A stylist picks out clothes for you or whatever. And I have found it interesting the things they have sent me in my little stitch box over the
Really?
past couple of months that someone else has picked for me that I have loved that I would have never picked for myself. And I was going through my last stitch box and I was thinking, looking at the different things of what I was going to keep and what I was going to return. And I started thinking in a spiritual way about how God gives me all these things and that I often cast away the things I don't want. And as you were talking, I was thinking about that because you were like, I'm happy. And I thought about that when I was going through my little stitch box. I was like, well, I already have that. I already have a pair of pants that are that color. So am I making sense? And
Mhm.
so I'm finding it interesting how God is still using a stitch box in you in this moment to show me that oftentimes the things that He sends to me, I am happy and I am content where I am, but it doesn't mean He's still not going to send me blessings. I've just got to stop being like, okay, well, I don't want that one. And,
Interesting.
and oh, I'll keep this one.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of his blessings come with some transformation on my part, some acceptance of the gift on my part. And I hear that's what you're saying. When we get the gift, that someone gives us, we can accept it or we can regift it. It's really up to us what we
Yes.
do with the gift. And so, maybe that's part of it is we're getting to a part of the year where maybe that's what we're thinking of is, are we keeping or are we regifting some of the things that we got from 2025?
Be sure and shop with us at therecoveringpreacherskids.com, where a portion of all sales goes to further the ministry of the Deeper House.